Hey guys, welcome to our Star Trek Discovery review. This week there really wasn't any good movies out, so we kind of decided to do something a little bit more exciting, which for me, being a huge fan of Star Trek, with a very distinct lack of Star Trek stuff recently, except for the Kelvin movie line timeline, I was excited for this show's debut on CBS. And are you a big Star Trek fan?
Huge, yeah.
Huge Star Trek fan. And Joe?
Yes.
No. And Joe?
Are you going to ask me something?
Yes, I was going to ask whether you're a big Star Trek fan.
No.
Okay. Joe, so what? You have no experience or you just don't like it?
I've never seen any of the shows. I've only seen the current movies. That's about it.
Okay. So we got pretty much a wide variety of, potential watchers and experienced Star Trek lore, brand new lore. So we'll see, how does this version of Star Trek stack up? Well, I can tell you, I'm just going to start right away, and I'm going to say, fucking awesome, man. I was really freaking happy. I was worried so much about this series. All the behind the scenes stuff about like Brian Fuller dropping out or something, and and a little bit of back and forth about who's going to be, the featured. This is the first series that uses the first lieutenant rather than the captain leading the way, and I thought that would be annoying and stupid, and I wanted them to keep it sort of the same. But honestly, at least these first two episodes, which I would call sort of a prequel to the Star Trek Discovery series that we're about to get, were amazing. I'm just gonna jump right out and say 9 out of fucking 10 for me. Wow. It's phenomenal. The action was there, the exploration, the sense of discovery, the Star Trekness. Now, of course, the first thing we gotta talk about is the updated visuals. What did you think about that?
So I'm worried about. I loved him, absolutely loved him. Yeah. But this was a teaser, right? This is something that's supposed to be a little bit larger in scale. So I do worry that when we actually get to the real series, that they'll tone them down. But I love of these two episodes; they were really, really good.
Yeah, they reminded me a little bit of the Kelvin universe, where J.J. Abrams having slick interior designs.
No, less lens flares.
And luckily there were less lens flares. And that's the impression I got, but when I actually watch it and you really look at the background, everything is far more angular, far more functional, as if they just, as if they have a backup plan in case their artificial gravity goes out. So you can tell that these are older ship designs, and even some of the Federation ships have more angular look to them, more militaristic, which will then segue nicely into the futuristic TNG, and it's supposed to actually go into the original series first.
Yeah, it's like,
but that shit is not gonna match.
The timeline this is 70 years after Voyager, but 10 years before the original series. So
it won't match. It's just because it's from so long ago, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them taking liberties on these designs and sort of trying to update them for new audiences and make them relevant for today's crowd. Joe, what did you think of, say, the Klingon design?
I'll just start off by saying I have no idea what y'all were talking about. But with that being said, I really like this show.
Yeah.
Like these first two episodes, I was like,
all right, Joe, I've been trying so hard to get Joe to watch Star Trek. I let him watch these 2 episodes, and on his own, he came to me and goes,
I was like, hey, let me see the next episode. Is it out?
That's pretty good.
So it was very captivating, and I liked the graphics on it. Were pretty cool. Really good. And I guess I never really watched it when I was a kid, because I was like, oh, they're just exploring, whatever. I didn't really bother with it. But now I see what they're trying to do, and I really like it. I'm not gonna lie.
What about the Klingons?
I don't know if people are gonna be mad about that, but I actually like this new.
Yeah.
People are furious.
People are furious.
Now they're supposed to be hostile and aggressive, and they do look hostile.
First thing, right away, they start speaking in Klingon. Yeah. I mean, you got to utilize that language. It's a real language that they've made. And I appreciate this, and I'm glad that we're not in baby mode here, where they're speaking English. They're talking Klingon. You've got subtitles at the bottom. You don't feel like reading? Get the fuck out of here. This is the wrong series for you.
You can also get the subtitles in Klingon.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Netflix. What? But we'll talk about the CBS All Access and Netflix thing here soon, because that's a huge part of this, and I think that it's really a shame. But getting back to the Klingon redesign, so Joe, the Klingons have actually looked different than this, and this could potentially upset the fans. However, if you really look, I mean, it's going to be a lot harder to cosplay a Klingon now with their big heads.
Different.
Yeah, but I actually really like their armor designs. If you notice, the spikes have like jewels on them and shit. I was like, oh fuck, I want some of that. But definitely more alien looking, a little harder to want to become a Klingon, in so to speak, because they're so alien looking. But I like that. It gives them a more mysterious look. It gives them a more kind of, I don't know how to describe it, just a sexier sort of design where it's like it's more interesting to look at, and you feel like it's two cultures clashing together.
There's no space mullets anymore. I mean,
space war.
That's nice.
And frankly, the Klingon design has changed before, and in the original series, they were basically just white guys with black face paint, kind of. And then in TNG, they went to the Ridge design, and I think in DS9, Worf met the original Klingons, and people were asking him like, those are Klingons? And he's like, yes, this is something that we do not discuss with outsiders. And that's the only reference that they had to them changing. So a lot of people were thinking that maybe this Klingon race is more ancient and you will see more Klingons that actually look like the TNG. However, I disagree. I think by the end of the series, they clearly state these are the Klingons. Because in this storyline, this leader, what's his name? Takuvma, right. Takuvma sort of gathers together the 24 great houses in the Klingon Empire in order to galvanize and bring them all together and give them one foe. And he's hoping to make that the Federation. When everybody shows up, the other Klingons, they all look of that similar design. They all have, you know, different ridges and stuff, but they are of that design. There's not going to be any clear skin Klingons. There's not going to be any of the mullet, you know, Worf Klingons. So these are the Klingon design. What do you think? As a big Star Trek fan.
So this is something that I'm willing to forgive, but I understand the people that can't get, you know, past it. This is something that, you know, you watch like TNG over and over and over and over. That you know what a Klingon looks like, and they changed it seemingly without reason. I don't have fault with it. Actually, the only problem I had was the albino Klingon looked too much like the dudes from Prometheus, which I hate. I despise that movie, and the fact that he kind of looks a little bit like the engineers from Prometheus. But I had no problem with it. This is not something I'm going to get up. I'm not going to get up in arms that they look slightly different, because the computers look different, the phasers look different. I mean, everything about this looks a little bit different, because we can't keep going back to what they did 50 years ago. And then 20 years ago.
And I am also a huge Star Trek fan, and I'm going to say I also forgive this. It's done a great enough job of
forgive it as well.
Well, Joe,
thank you. That means a lot to us.
You're welcome, guys.
I think it's an interesting take. Not every single iteration of Star Trek over these decades and decades and decades are going to have to look exactly the same. I am willing. Now, if you are, like, the favorite race of yours was Klingons, I can understand why you'd be a little bit upset, right?
Yeah, you
gotta throw these things out, but you don't have to throw them out because it's a part of legacy now. So, anyways, I thought that was great, and the design of the Federation of these ships, they look great. I love the weapons used here. I loved how much action was in this one. This is, but I do want Star Trek to not be all about action. But I think in 2017, it's appropriate to show this particular time period when the Federation first meets the Klingons, and we're in this sort of clash right away, and then a huge Cold War building up to a much bigger war. This sense of military and war looming over the greater storyline that we're about to have over this season is a fantastic tension builder. It is. It's a great villain to have these Klingons in the background somewhere. Now let's say then we go on to the regular series where they're exploring the galaxy, and it sort of looks like that. We saw the captain, find some different alien creature, and he's got him trapped in, and we saw all these different things in the promo. And so having these Klingons that can come in and make an appearance every once in a while is a good thing for me, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it's a sign of things to come. Like, the level of action in these two episodes, I think is going to be way, way higher because it's a teaser. Yeah. And this is, again, some of the people that are hating on this on the internet, they're like, this feels more like Star Wars than Star Trek because there's more action, there's more fighting. This is also just the beginning of the series.
You realize that in the Star Trek universe,
he did his job because first time watcher, it drew me in.
Right.
I want to continue watching.
I was a long time watcher.
And in the Star Trek universe, races are not always going to get along. No matter how much you want to talk about diplomacy and dialogue and all that shit, sometimes it's going to be like, fucking kill them, you know, and that's the Klingons wanted to rally, and he's using the Federation in an effort to make his empire more powerful. He doesn't care that the humans are going to die, and even his own Klingons are going to die. It's glorious. It's glorious for them to engage in battle and unite the Klingon houses like this. So, what did you think about the various performances and actors in this? Obviously, we have, for the first time, at least in these pilot episodes that we watched, 2 female leads, 2 minority female leads. So this is probably going to piss off your average alt-right guy when they're going to talk shit about.
This is so much. I mean, Star Wars has always been so, or Star Trek has always been, you know, trying to advance like how people view it. Like, it wasn't a big deal that they were the first interracial kiss on TV. An incredibly diverse cast.
It's always been about diversity in Star Trek.
And it didn't matter. Like, something that actually I really liked when TNG came out is they were interviewing. They were interviewing the creator, and they're like, how can you have a bald lead? How come in 200 years in the future we haven't had a cure for baldness? And he looked straight at him and he was like, in 200 years they won't care. Like, it's not a big deal. And that's so important to like the universe. It's like, we just like it doesn't matter that they just both did a great job. My only gripe, and we've talked about this, is when you have Michelle Yeoh in there, I want her to be able to like. I wanted her to kick a little bit more ass. I know it's not appropriate.
Some kung fu.
I wanted it to happen, but I understand why they did.
She's playing a different character.
I know.
I think Michelle Yeoh did a fantastic job as that sort of more guided Starfleet captain, the captain that I think of when I think of Starfleet captains. She's seen war clearly in the past. You can tell in her performance. The only nagging thing is maybe it was a little hard for me to understand some of her lines. Her English, her accent is a little thicker, but I had subtitles on for the second episode, so it didn't really bother me as much. And honestly, I really wish that you know. That her character would continue. Maybe we'll see more of her in previous episodes, but I'm not sure. We're going to talk a little bit more about all that stuff in the spoiler section. But the other performances, obviously our lead is now a character called Michael, but she's a chick, but her name's Michael. Yeah. There's got to be a story behind that. I must have missed it, but what's her name?
Sonequa Martin Green.
But Sonequa Martin Green. What'd you think of her?
I had no problem with her. I liked her, actually. Yeah. I like both captains and everybody.
She's a lieutenant. She's the first, number 1.
I like them both. And I thought that weird creature alien, at first I didn't like him, but he grew on me.
The very tall, lanky guy. I think is probably going to be your first divisive creature among the fan base because he's so cowardly. But when you look at his backstory, he is of a race that is literally bred to be eaten by another race. You know, so he has this sort of sixth instinct on when there's danger around, and that's supposed to be. But he's very intelligent. Yeah. He wants to stick with regulations and stuff. So there's some nuances there, and I already like it. I like his mannerisms, the way he talks. This is the same guy from the Guillermo del Toro films where he played a lot of the interesting creatures and stuff like that. So I have a disposition to like him, but I liked his character as well. At first I'm yelling at the screen, "You freaking coward! You know, let's go, let's fight, Federation!"
Somebody get him off the ship.
Right.
We're supposed to be exploring, and you don't want to explore.
Or you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that. But you need somebody like that in order to sort of give you the other.
Well, there's always been balance, always, right? Yeah. So you had Kirk, and then you have Spock, who's super logical, and then you have Bones, who's crazy emotional. So there's always supposed to be balance with the people at the top. And I think they did a good job with this, where you've got someone who's always trying to break the rules in Michael, and then Saru is always trying to like stay within regulations and play safe. So it made sense. I'm just curious. Because we see in the teasers that he ends up on, like, in more episodes, and I want to see how they interact with each other.
So going back to Michael Burnham, the character played by Sonequa, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, I didn't buy her performance." I thought she did fantastic. Yeah. However, I can kind of see where she might rub you wrong. If you're Star Trek, hardcore faithful, and you're already disconvinced with the series, and I don't like these Klingons, so you're looking for things things to pick at, then, and I kind of was looking for things to pick at, when you first encounter her, she is a bit of a try-hard. Yeah. And for me, I hate try-hard characters. You know what I mean? Like, they're just bullheaded and they want to do something. They have something to prove and stuff. And it rubs you the wrong way. And I think it's supposed to be that way on purpose. That she's a little bit like that. And then over the series, you can actually do a character arc. You see what I'm saying? But even through these 2 episodes, you can see her character mature. You can see when she first came aboard the Senzu as she was born and raised by Vulcans. Yeah. She's not Vulcan. And I think the episodes probably could have done a better job. I think that they mentioned it several times that she's human. But I don't know. If you're not really paying attention and you see her in the haircut and you see her eyebrows, did you think she was Vulcan?
No.
You knew she was human?
Yeah.
Okay, then they did their job. Maybe it's just me. But when she first comes aboard, man, she is 100% Vulcan, you know, judging things and stuff. But over time, you can tell, okay, over the 6 years that she served with Michelle Yeoh's character, they grew a friendship and she really integrated in very well. And so she almost had a little mini arc there. So, and I think we'll get a lot more of that. I think she's a great actress and an interesting lead for this one. Going back to when I said that I hate the fact that it's a lieutenant, you know, #1 instead of a captain. The jury is still out on that for me.
See, I
need to see.
See, I like it because there should be someone. You know, when you're the captain, you can make all of the decisions. And so in Star Trek, you know, there's always this person in charge that can make the right decision. And sometimes when as we saw in these episodes, sometimes the person who knows the correct decision isn't actually in charge and they can't get their way.
Yeah, that does create for more drama possibilities.
Yeah, it could make things more interesting. I don't think I hate it or love it but we'll see.
Jason Isaacs, I'm really excited. We didn't see him at all in these first 2 episodes, but he is going to be the captain of the USS Discovery, a ship that she eventually transfers to, and that we're going to get our traditional Star Trek series on. I'm very excited to see him as the captain. He's more your traditional, so if you're one of those people that are complaining, like, I don't want women, and I don't want the blacks or the Asians or anything like that, there's your traditional captain. But, you know, honestly, if you're like that, you shouldn't be watching Star Trek in the first place. But I see some of that shit on the internet. More fucking diversity, more fucking feminist propaganda. I'm like, dude, this is fucking Star Trek. Get the fuck out of here. So, I don't know. That stuff all pisses me off. But, so I really liked a lot of the throwbacks. I was hearing a lot of original sounds, man. The sounds are so good. Just the bridge sounds like sort of the original bridge. I thought I heard some DS9 alert sounds. Some klaxon, you know, alert sounds and stuff like that. It all sounded Star Trek.
Definitely.
And what we're seeing now is an enrichment of the Star Trek universe in a way never before possible. If you're a Star Trek fan, you should be excited. For example, when you have these fucking large ships shooting at each other and doing damage, once you get through the shields, what happens? We see that. We see the detailed deck destruction of a ship. In fact, at one point, the Senzu itself, the ship that Michelle Yeoh's character captains, takes a direct hit to the bridge. It fucking gets, you know, everybody's about to be sucked out, but luckily the shields come up just in time. And you're sitting, and then everybody kind of has a moment like, oh, fuck, we could have all died right there, except for this shield that is sort of glowing and emanating and perhaps about to fail, you know? So all that stuff was just so gripping and interesting, especially the scene in the second episode where Michael's character is in the brig because she attempted to disobey orders, and as they're in this massive battle, she's got to find a way to convince this stoic computer to let her go so that she can survive. So a lot of interesting scenarios and setups here. Even the way that this was filmed. That's another thing. Traditional Star Trek series have been filmed very, you know, sort of plain, vanilla. The camera doesn't move much. You've got shoulder-over-shoulder shots. But here, you're doing lots of interesting things. She takes this, environmental spacesuit so she can go and explore, and the camera does interesting things with that. We've got nice pans and zooms, and just camera work can finally play a part in Star Trek in a television series, and it makes it just far more interesting to watch.
We'll see if they continue to do that when the season actually starts, or if
Yeah.
that was something that was only for this two-part
So
special.
that's our major concern, and my major concern, even though I issue this a 9 out of 10, is that just going to hold for these 2 episodes, and then what we have coming is a completely different Star Trek series. So what we're going to have to do is come and update you guys, perhaps with a mid-season review, and then finally with a conclusion series review. And sort of get our opinions on that so far. However, as a beginner episode, sort of a taste of what's to come, I think this sets up the universe great, puts a lot of my fears to rest, and I really enjoy it. However, we need to talk about CBS All Access. So you're only getting...
That's where you lost points for me because I don't have it.
Yeah.
I have to watch it.
Yeah. I had to purchase CBS All Access. I went with you get $5.99 or $10.99 without ads. Fuck you. You know what I mean? The $5.99 should be without ads. But no, so if I want to watch it without ads, $10.99. And then, get this, so I'm watching it, and there's this big fucking CBS logo in the bottom right-hand corner. It's like, I'm paying you $10 fucking a month. I know who the fuck you are, CBS. Get this shit out of my face, you know? You're ruining, you know, that little corner of my fucking enjoyment. Pissing me off. So, I fucking hate it. You know, why? Why? It just makes me so mad. I'm so happy that there's a new Star Trek, and that it doesn't suck, and that it's actually worth watching, and they fucking put it behind a paywall. That's right. The budget is it's a $7 to $8 million an episode, $6 to $7 million an episode.
Game of Thrones is at $10 million an
Yeah.
episode.
15.
Yep.
15 now.
Yeah.
Because it used to be. All right. Wow.
And so this is at 6 or 7 an episode, and they're hiding it behind this fucking paywall. Now, if you're anywhere but the U.S., so the U.S. has a right to complain because they have to go and buy CBS All Access. But the rest of you guys over there in Canada and the U.K., it's on fucking Netflix. And so that's a good fucking deal. So ultimately, is Star Trek Discovery worth the, you know, purchase price, right? Because you have to pay for it behind a paywall. Yes, if it's on Netflix. If you're in its other region, let this be the thing to push you over the top and finally get a Netflix subscription. And as a side note, I finally cut my cable cord. I got an extra $50 a month to play around with.
Now you're spending it on CBS.
And now, goddamn it, I'm already doing fucking Netflix, and I didn't want to have to do another one. So I don't think that this is sustainable. You cannot have all these networks go and do their separate fucking things. Think about this. We've got Netflix. We got Hulu. I got Spotify. I got fucking Amazon. You got not only Amazon, but now you've got CBS All Access, and now Disney's breaking off of fucking Netflix and gonna do their own fucking paid services. We're at 6 or 7 services. HBO. You need that shit for Game of Thrones. Yeah. And so now you got 8 fucking services. Well, I just saved $50, now $10 a month. Now I'm spending $80. No fucking way.
Well, the game companies are trying to do that too. I mean, EA wants to do their own thing outside of Steam. Like they want to do that for everything.
But what I'm saying is, this cannot be sustained, no. And I don't, and I'm not sure. This is their big reason for you to go out and get CBS All Access, and for me. After seeing it, I'm excited enough and encouraged enough and a big enough fan of Star Trek that I don't mind, let's say $5.99, I don't mind spending $15 to watch all 17 episodes. You know, that's just me. You know, you might end up spending between $20 and $30 if you want to go without ads. But for the general audience, it's a tough sell, man. In the United States, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure this is going to be the most fucking pirated series of all time. Because you got this really...
just under Game of Thrones.
Just under Game of Thrones. And I wonder how that's really going to hurt CBS All Access. My main point here is that, actually, did you know Netflix was owned by all the other major companies, right? And CBS doesn't have a part of Netflix, so that's why they went off and did their CBS All Access. CBS, you just need to, you know, say, fuck it, and just invest in fucking Netflix and join the fucking party, all right? Because I cannot stand 2 separate services, and I think it's unfair and a bunch of bullshit that it's not on Netflix in the U.S.
And honestly, I don't think I would get CBS access just for this show.
Right. As a person who you would have got to watch the show weekly, you know, you don't get them. Because you're not gonna go and pay $7 a month just to watch one fucking show. Because what else is on CBS?
Nothing I watch.
I don't fucking watch nothing on CBS.
Exactly. That's
I did notice that you do get the added benefit of all the other Star Treks, like literally everything. Original series, animated series, DS9, TNG. But who the fuck cares? That shit is on Netflix, I think. So I don't need that. Yeah, so I was really excited about this. Sarek. Let's talk a little bit about Sarek.
So we getting into spoilers? Like, are we going to be talking about?
Let's wrap up the review part. So, in a way to tie this series into the threads of actual Prime timeline, because this is supposed to be in the Prime timeline, they use Sarek's character, which, if you don't know, is the father of Spock, right? And he apparently is supposed to be the father, the surrogate father, or the adoptive father of our main character in this, the Michael Burnham character played by Sonequa. And but then you're like, what? Wait, what? So why did Spock never mention that he has a human sister, adopted sister kind of thing? So they're gonna need to find a way to explain that. But why did they do that? Why did they bring in Sarek, do you think?
Because they make bad decisions. I
actually like the decision.
I mean, like, why? Like, what? You're gonna piss off people. Like, I watch it and go, no, absolutely not. There's no reason to have this character. It could have been any random Vulcan, any Vulcan at all. And
I think is they felt the need to tie it in with something from the original.
Well, there's already
something
so
from the prime timeline.
There was the Jaeger, the USS Jaeger showed up. There's a lot of things that like tied things together.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't need to have a character. Just like what could you possibly gain versus how many people are gonna piss off? I wasn't mad, but it's like, why?
It could have been somebody else, but I think it does give it a little bit more gravitas being Sarek, and I think the actor for Sarek does a great job.
Yeah.
James Frame. James. Hey, you did a great job, all right, James. And so it gave, and because he has some sort of mind meld connection with it, he makes a connection in the middle of a battle, so it's a heightened mind connection. And this is an excuse for them to talk across the galaxy and factor him into the story. He's going crazy.
Yeah, I see that.
I fucking hated that.
I didn't like that.
And I get why they're doing it, because it sets up they're gonna have this mentor person.
Yeah, I think it's great.
He's gonna, like, page her at time to time, like, are you sure you're doing okay? I'm gonna do. It's like, really.
Yeah, other things that I wrote down here is we get great close-ups on the control panels in greater detail than we've ever gotten before. Like I said, the ships look great.
I was honestly thinking, I was like, I can't wait to play that ship on the VR.
Yeah, I want a new Star Trek game now. The robot character, I think it was the navigator on the USS Senzu, was really cool. It looked like Daft Punk helmet. Daft Punk, but I think she actually died if you look at it. But those characters, although I was hoping that they'd focus on these characters as we go forward, and then you realize, wait a minute, this is the wrong ship. This is the USS Senzu. This is not the ship that we're going to get for 17 episodes. We're going to get the Discovery. So, that Daft Punk character, gone. The DJ's gone, Joe. The young guy gone. Redhead gone. All these other characters, though I do think they're going to carry over that one cowardly alien guy. But I thought all that was incredibly cool. And, the only main gripe, the only reason why it doesn't earn a 10 out of 10 is because some of the things did feel written specifically to create. I want to be fully immersed and have reasons for everything and never have my suspension of disbelief broken. It was only broken twice. Slightly with the Sarek stuff, like you're saying, is like, really, we're gonna, but Spock never mentioned this, so you're cramming this in here to tie it in with the Prime Universe. And I forgave that. And the other one was when, after this big battle in the second episode, which by far is the highlight of these two episodes, the fucking Klingons just opening up on the Federation. Not care. There's so many Federation ships.
Ripping the ship
so
in
many,
half.
And they're fucking ramming the ship and uncloaking.
That's why I was gonna give it a 10
so
out of
much
10.
fucking
The ramming.
shit. Yeah, the ramming speed is fucking awesome, man. But the one thing that bothered me is after this big battle, after the Federation has retreated, and the Senzu's sort of limping, and the Klingons are kind of still out there gathering up their dead. If they notice the Senzu's still alive, they're probably going to blast it. So they have to very stealthily and sneakily come up with a plan in order to capture this Klingon leader who is about to rally the Empire together in full-scale war with the Federation, and they decide, we're going to go capture him. Okay, we'll get the security teams over. Let's go with the large beam rifles or phaser rifles that you see at the very beginning of the series in episode 1 when they use it to sort of open a water well for a different race. Let's go over there in force. No, they send 2 fucking people over there. They send the captain and the first officer, the 2 most important people. Now, this happens all the time on TNG, right? Yeah. And in all the Star Trek series. However, they always bring red shirts with them, you know? And exactly.
That's what we're for.
I'm safe.
You're safe, Joe. But it's what they're for. And they didn't bring anybody over. So when they go over there, of course, they get their fucking ass kicks, which leads to, some we'll talk about in the spoilers, and it's like really something so important where the Klingons are either going to rally and continue the war against you forever, or they're not, and you're going to crush this sort of war against the Federation quickly. You send 2 people over there.
I was at like 9 thinking about 10, and I went from 9 to barely 8 after that portion.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's talk about final verdicts. So you're going to go with 8 out of 10?
Strong 8 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed. Now, I'm not saying the series is going to be an 8, because this is just something to get OJ excited. Like this was
and me excited. I'm a hardcore Star Trek fan.
But I think they got you. I think you were going to watch it regardless.
Yeah, but I was going to watch it regardless, but I could either be fucking pissed off with what they did or really intrigued and interested with what they did. And I'm on the interested and intrigued.
I'm totally with you, but I was going to watch it even if it was kind of crappy. It's like, we're not
I did not watch Enterprise for that reason, because I know it's like, I don't care.
Really
I was like, fuck that, I'm not watching it. So this isn't an Enterprise situation for me.
Was good.
This is much better than that.
But they got, like, this would be something that Erica would love.
Yeah.
And she knows nothing about Star Trek.
Yeah.
She would just watch it and go, like, this is something that's cool. Yeah. And I hope that it continues. Like, we've got this momentum, and if we just go, you know, there's a little bit more action than normally in Star Trek, but if it plummets and people are bored, then they're going to lose.
Yeah, and it's hard to get a girl to watch Star Trek with you. I've had several, but if you find one, Joe, she's a keeper, all right?
Well,
like, and that was back in Voyager time, so this one is going to be a lot easier for you to get to watch your Star Trek with. But he's probably the most critical on the show. An 8 out of 10 for him is like a 10 out of 10 for you. Yeah. Joe, what do you think?
I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. Basically, I don't know enough to gripe the same way you guys.
But that's the perspective we want. We want a fresh perspective.
Basically, I love this. This is something I could binge watch.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that sucks that we don't get binge watch.
I like the acting on it. The graphics were great. The fucking ramming
speed.
And I don't care about the Klingons because they act like, to me, it looks
cool.
Oh,
you mean the change?
The change on that, so that looked pretty cool. And overall,
what about the teaser? Let me ask you this about the teaser of what's coming for the USS Discovery. You know, were you excited about what that is?
Excited about that.
Okay.
But the thing that knocks down a point is I'm not gonna get CBS access.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Hey, that's fair. You know, because this is a value proposition. This is 2017. We have to consider these different sort of environments, and to ask you to be like, here's this amazing show that we spent millions of dollars on, and now it's behind a paywall. They're being selfish as fuck with it.
I don't want to.
They could have instead put this on broadcast television and really created a resurgence of Star Trek. I think this is an incredibly selfish, greedy, disgusting decision. And purely to line the pockets of CBS, and purely motivated by, you know, just
it's a safe decision.
Corporate greed. No, I don't think it is, because Star Trek is Star Wars is in complete resurgence. We're getting so much Star Wars, and CBS needs to realize, okay, we need to put something out there that's good and get people excited again about Star Trek. As many people as possible excited about Star Trek. Does this do that? Fuck no. You took this massive audience here, and now it is like this. it is going to be so fucking niche that it's going to be unfair for this to sort of succeed on the level that I want it to succeed. Now, maybe season 2, if sales are too low on CBS All Access, or you know, season 3, we'll finally get them to relent, put it out in public, or put it on Netflix or more streaming services, so that it's a little bit easier in 2017 to get it without having to buy a service that you're not going to use for anything other than watching one fucking thing, you know?
What if they put it on Netflix in 6 months?
I'd be more down for that. You know what I mean? Then he'll watch it.
Yeah.
So
I think this is just them being safe. They don't think that they can recoup if they're paying 7 million? $6 to $7 million an episode. That's a lot for a TV show, and without a guaranteed return. I mean, they paid something like $4 to $5 million for episodes of, like, there's something about Raymond or something, and so but those are guaranteed money. Like, those make money. And Star Trek, I mean, as much as I love it, I don't know if it's got the same universal appeal. So this is a safe but shitty decision. Because, like, the studios always make safe but shitty decisions. Yeah. And I think this is one of them.
I think 6-7 million is for these 2 episodes at the high quality, massive space battles and a lot of things. I think they're gonna get a little bit, you know, more like 5 million per episode. Because if you go 5 million per episode, you say there's 10 episodes, you're looking at, you know, $50 million budget. But it's probably more in the $100 to $200 million budget. This could have been basically a fucking Star Trek movie, but it essentially is. It's just a long ass movie because it's not serialized, or is it serialized? The fact that it will be an ongoing story through multiple episodes where they don't just reset at the end of every episode like they've done a lot with previous Star Treks. Modern television is different enough now where people are willing to jump into a series, watch from the beginning and watch them all, instead of the way it was before where people had to be careful, writers had to be careful not to lose new audiences in episode 10 of what people are talking about. So this benefits from the fact that they can do that being on, you know, Netflix or CBS All Access, but still, I think it needs to be on network television. So anyways, the final verdict from me is a 9 out of 10. I'm extremely excited. I think this was a great opening. It serves as a great prequel. I'm invested. However, I do think that the series that we're going to get is going to be different from this. It's going to be completely different, in fact. So I am still worried. And we'll update you with a mid-season review. That'll be the one to really watch. And then an end-season review and sort of give you on the whole what we think that the first season, whether it was good or bad. All right, guys? Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.